You know, the time we spend on this earth is only part of the beauty of living. The other part is how we spend the time we have. For those of us with loved ones who are terminally ill, quality of life becomes even more precious. These special people deserve to spend their remaining time in comfort, with dignity. They need familiar surroundings and familiar faces. That's what hospice is all about.
4 decades ago, a group of pioneering volunteers decided that patients in our community who were approaching their end of life needed and deserved a revolutionary type of care that had recently come to America. This cutting-edge healthcare was called hospice. Committed visionaries such as Dr. Caroline Williams, Dr. Martha Fay, and memorial radiologist Dr. David Tanner worked closely with Ann Stewart as she chaired a United Way task force charged with bringing a hospice to Savannah. 40 years ago this month, well over 100 people attended the first general meeting of Hospice Savannah Incorporated. A 21-member board of directors was elected, and Ann Stewart was named chairman. In January of 1980, the first patients were served. From humble beginnings in a small office in the Senior Citizens Building on Bull Street, Hospice Savannah's home care program grew to serve patients and their families throughout Chatham, Bryan, Effingham, and Liberty counties. In 1992, after much planning and fundraising, Hospice House was opened. At the ribbon cutting, Anne said, "This is a day of rejoicing, for dreams really do come true."
Anne's vision was, let's build a hospice house and have it available to everybody in the community, kind of regardless of their ability to pay.
I like to know everyone that's inside the hospice house, especially our families to the patients, okay? And I like to reassure them that we will be doing our best in order to meet their goal for their loved one and for themselves.
My father was a very strong-willed person. I did not want to see him struggle or be uncomfortable at all. So at that point, we made a decision to elect Hospice Savannah into Hospice House, and he was comfortable. He passed in Hospice House, but his death was peaceful, and we were able to be around to say, our goodbyes and spend what time he had left. We was able to do that over in Hospice House.
Anne retired later in 1992, and Judith Brunger became Hospice Savannah's second executive director. Marna Lewin became executive director in 2004, followed 3 years later by Deborah Larson, and of course by Dr. Kathleen Benton in January of this year. In 1994, Jean Hurd Hunter endowed the establishment of a center for grief and loss that could serve community members in addition to our own hospice families. It officially opened in 2001.
My mom passed away from breast cancer, and so my dad thought it would be good to come here because we like to keep our feelings cramped up inside. And it's helped a lot. It's helped talk out our feelings, me and my sister.
We began to see the need for palliative care for patients not yet physically ready or not emotionally ready for hospice care. After several years of serving this population, the Stewart Center for Palliative Care was incorporated in May 2005.
Sometimes at palliative care, they can't get you out of pain. They do their best to get you to the lowest pain level that they can, and it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. It's a process of going in there, pouring your heart out on the table, and everybody doesn't mind. They don't care if you cry. They don't care if you need a moment. They're there for you.
In addition to helping the terminally ill, seriously ill, and bereaved, we recognized the need to help and support caregivers, and 4 years ago, we officially opened the Adele Caregiver Institute, housed inside the beautiful Demery Center for Living.
It's peaceful, and I feel like I can breathe. And then the great warm reception that I receive from the staff members. They greet you with a hug and just hold you. And sometimes I need that.
From the perspective of a fundraiser, I really applaud the way that Hospice Savannah has been able to move giving across generations.
If I won the lottery when I was older, I would probably give half of it to the poor, half of it to my family, and half of it to my school or something like that.
Of course, today we're here to honor the Kaminsky family. And this family has engaged not just their sons, but their grandchildren as well in their work here with Hospice Savannah. And this organization has done a wonderful job in transitioning from one generation, not just to the next, but all the way to the third generation, which is imperative as we move forward in our community and continue to support organizations that are more fragile than they've ever been as funding streams change and support that we've continued to count on is no longer available.
It was downtown at our dealership. This was like at the beginning of hospice. And I was downtown riding home down Price Street. I remember exactly where I was. And it was like a public service announcement that came on and talked about end of life, dying with dignity, and that no one should have to die alone. I was sort of in the midst of trying to find out what was going on with my sister, who was very close-mouthed about her breast cancer. I didn't know whether how sick she was or whatever. And it just came at a very appropriate time for me. In the radio announcement, they were talking about that they were having a meeting. Ann Stewart was the speaker and also the director of hospice at the time. And she was just a treasure. And I just sat in the back of the room and she talked. And after the meeting, I went up and I introduced myself to Ann, and I said, I want to be involved.
Growing up in Savannah, I pretty much always knew Myron and Fran, but we didn't really become friends until Kathy and I got married. And so traveling together over 40 years has given us a chance to really get to know them and really get to appreciate who they are. It was always really important to Myron and Fran that they set an example for Adam and Ross, and I know it was very dear to their hearts when Ross started volunteering with Camp Aloha, and then as Adam got more involved philanthropically in the community, and I'm sure that's something they feel very good about.
A portion of the proceeds of every car that we sell in all 3 dealerships goes to benefit Camp Aloha, which fortunately we've been able to perpetuate that for a number of years now, and it's been a great thing for the children and their families and the community, and we're proud to be a part of it.
And being able to sort of be the sponsor of that and be part of it was huge. To see, you know, kids get healed, and being a counselor there was greatly impactful, I think, for my life, and what a wonderful thing to see what we're able to kind of help do.
Yeah, I think that children are often the forgotten mourners, so it's important to give them an opportunity, and also I think all people need to know that it's okay to mourn and have a good time, that you're not doing a bad thing. You shouldn't feel guilty because you're laughing when you're still hurting. And I think camp can do that. It kind of lets them live that.
I've been friends with the Kaminskys for over 20 years. We were a running group. There were about 8 of us, and we'd run together. But I will tell you this, Myron Kaminsky is the best friend you could ever have. He's an extraordinary friend, and he makes everybody in his life feel special. And he's really extraordinary because he got Fran to marry him. And she is truly extraordinary. I probably shouldn't say this, but Fran's my favorite.
There's a lot of talent out there, and we want hospice to have the best that we can help get. And it's not a hard ask, because it's the kind of organization that is meaningful to people. Anybody, everybody will be touched by a loss.
And the way that hospice is going to continue and to be viable is for young people to get involved and be involved. You know, we need the Adams, we need the Rosses, we need young people.
This is one area where we should take care of each other and make sure that we do it well.
And I think the reason that Brandon and I have committed to doing this honor is so that, you know, the young people out there that maybe do see this will get what I got and say, I got to get involved.
Founded by our community, We help people live.